Let's fucking go, man. Let's go. We are going to the national championship and playing that game for the national championship in Miami. 31-27, the Miami Hurricanes defeat the sorry-ass Ole Miss Rebels in the Verbo. Didn't know what the fuck a Verbo was until I finally saw the commercial Fiesta Bowl. Now, no, they're not sorry. They're not sorry. They gave us a freaking fight, dude. Like, we should have dominated that game. That was one of those games where, like, the Kings should be dominating. Go back to FSU. That was that game where the Kings should be dominant, but the score does not reflect dominance. You know, go back to Notre Dame. The score didn't really reflect dominance, but you felt like in the trenches, the Miami Hurricanes were dominating that game. Even Florida, the Miami Hurricanes were definitely dominating that game. And the score was one score with Florida having the ball in the third quarter. That was one of those games that reflected the season. Now, the thing is, Miami was able to win those games, but you can also say the SMU game, Miami felt like they should have won that game and were dominating, but then the penalties, the flags, the mistakes came into play, and we lost that game, which was the game that really put a stinger on the season, you thought. But guess what? We overcame it. We overcame it, just like we did when we had 2 losses, and we're fighting and battling our way to get a shot at making the playoffs, because we knew this team had the chance, we knew this team had the talent, we knew this team could make a run in the playoffs, and everybody thought everybody was insane. You thought this team was not that good, because they don't really know Miami Hurricanes football, they don't really watch Miami Hurricanes football, they're not at those games like us, watching the Miami Hurricanes football and seeing this team is different with the defense and the offense. And they're proving it. Going on a gauntlet, 3-game win streak, Texas A&M, Ohio State, and now the Ole Miss Rebels. We might not be the ACC champions, but we should be the SEC champions. We deserve and we have a shot now at being national fucking champions. I mean, this game, opening the game in the first quarter, Ole Miss had 2 drives and they were both 3-and-outs. And we had a field goal, 13-play, 44-yard drive for a field goal. So it was showing domination on defense. We were stopping their number 1 offense in the country, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, the second quarter, Kewan Lacey breaks one. And that was probably to Ahmad Moten having to come out the game. He was dealing with injuries. He came back this game, fought his way, wanted to grit it out and play the Fiesta Bowl. And then we had Big David Blay had to come in along with Justin Scott. I forgot which one it was. Kewan Lacey able to go right through his old line for the 80-yard score. But Miami answered right back, 13-play, 75-yard touchdown. And almost gets a field goal. We answered back. Keelan Marion with a great play. Safety came down a little too much, and he was able to get, a 50-something, 52-yard touchdown? Going into half, we're up 17-13. We're dominating. But the score, it's still close. But then the third quarter happened, and that was, terrible for Miami. Just awful. We had Inez Cooper getting penalties, Ole Miss catching momentum, missed field goals. We exchanged missed field goals. Then we had a tip pick after a great 13-play, 42-yard drive off of their missed field goal. We should have scored there. And then they get the double doink field goal. We're dropping picks left and right. Ethan O'Connor, Wesley Vasayton dropped one before that. It was going bad, man. And then we had a PI call in the fourth quarter. That was like, what the fuck are you calling that? That's not called in the first quarter. Why are we calling it in the fourth quarter? It felt like everything was going bad for Miami, honestly. It felt like we were shying away from the run game too much. Now we had to rely on the pass. And what we've been doing these last 2 games is not relying on the pass. We're relying on Carson. The passes come in when we really, really needed them. Carson Beck got him done, and he was a game manager. But now we got to rely on Carson Beck to take us home. To literally take us home. And you know what he did? See Beck walk him down. The big Carson Beck, Mr. 4Ms. He fucking took us home. He took us home. 15 plays, 75 yards, back against the wall. We were down 24. First of all, we were down 19-17 in the the fourth quarter. 4 plays, 75-yard drive. Capped by Malachi Tony touchdown where he just gapped one for 36 yards. And then Trinidad Chambliss, 6 plays, 75 yards. Great drive by Ole Miss. Our defense is gas because they've been playing that fast pace all game, and it finally caught up to them. Our O-line was kind of gassed too, but then fourth quarter they were making some big plays. But 15 plays, 75-yard drive, just putting it together. And there was some like plays where I'm like, come on. Like, there's some throws that like he almost threw a pick to Perkins because he was trying to throw it out of bounds, trying to just kill it. But he misread like Perkins' athletic ability, and he probably could have intercepted. It was pretty close. We had a Keelan Marion throw where he just underarmed it like too short, looking like Tua out there underthrew it. But when he needed them, literally when he needed to make the play, it was there. It was there. Like on big third downs, 3rd and 8, 15-yard pass to Keelan Marion. Not really 15-yard pass, but he threw it, and Keelan Marion was able to draw the face mask penalty. 3rd down to C.J. Daniels, literally right on the sticks. Right on the sticks. Gives us the first down, extends the drive, gets us in guaranteed field goal position almost. Then again, 3rd and 10 to Keelan Marion for 17 yards. Then he has a fucking QB draw that looked terrible. He literally slipped. This field was awful. I remember in the Super Bowl, Eagles-Chiefs 2023, this field was also awful. I don't know why we're playing games on this field still, why there's such big events, such high stakes being played in the Arizona Cardinals Stadium, but this field was fucking awful. Mark Fletcher slipped. Marty Brown slipped. Carson Beck slipped. I don't remember if an Ole Miss player slipped, but of course it was only us that were slipping in the Fiesta Bowl for this 0-4 in the Fiesta Bowl. Only haunts Miami fans. Of course, the Fiesta Bowl. Nothing good happened until tonight in the Fiesta Bowl for Miami. And then we finally, at that 11-yard pass, we literally get into goal range. 10 yards to go. And Marty Brown with a 5-yard run. And then the big play where Carson Beck finally gets his moment. Everybody had their moment, I feel like, this playoff run so far. Ruben Bain and Mesidor have been dominant. That Ohio State game, really. Keontae Scott with the pick six. We're talking about the main guys like Mark Fletcher. He definitely had his moment in both the Texas A&M game and the Ohio State game. Malachi Tony had his moment in the Texas A&M game. Big Carson Beck had his moment in this game. That 3-yard run for a touchdown, he's been using his legs more often this playoff run. And he was able to read it and identify. I got some wide open space to the left. Running in for a touchdown right in front of our fan base. Smile on his face to put the game on ice. Not really, though, because there was 18 seconds for Ole Miss, and that was the longest 18 seconds of my life. Longest 18 seconds. How did they... We were playing prevent defense, and they were able to just easily thrash that. And we were able to, throw in shape for a 40-yard Hail Mary that could have been called PI, which if it was called PI, I would have threw the fucking remote to Arizona, all the way from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That remote would have ended up on the referee's head in Arizona. I waited at least 30 seconds for that PI to be called. I was like, no flag, no flag, no flag. And I'm still going to wait here for the flag just in case. You see those clips of, I wasn't old enough, of course, the Fiesta Bowl of National Championship with Ohio State in 03. Only bad things can happen, and only bad things were happening up until that last drive for the Miami Hurricanes. But we're able to gut one out, 31-27. Here is Big Prez, Mr. Mario Cristobal, after the game with SVP.
And I thank you for taking time in the midst of this celebration. If I've got this right, the last time you played at home was NC State on the 15th of November. More than 2 months later, you'll play on that field for a national title. As you allow yourself to imagine what that will feel like to be back in front of your folks in your part of the world, what do you imagine that will be?
Well, Scott, again, first and foremost, thank you for having me. I know you got some stuff to do too, brother. But, honestly, you've already kind of known that I'm the most boring interview in sports. So I don't think I'm so process-oriented, and all I'm thinking about is getting in there with these dudes, checking to see how they're doing. Really proud of them. They overcame not only the scoreboard, but we had a bunch of guys banged up tonight. And we've been on the road, like you mentioned, for 5 straight games. These guys are too young to have ever seen the movie Major League, But that's what it feels like. Like we've been on a plane going all over the world, and we finally got to go home and play in front of our people.
And I love.
That's what it's about right there. That's what it's about. Getting this victory. We finally get to go back home, and Mario is so set focused. He wants to do it. one final time. All we have to do one final time for the last week, literally. We are playing in the literal last week of the season for the national championship, Monday, January 19th or 18th. Wants to go 1-0. One more 1-0 week, and we can call ourselves national champions. And as you said in this interview, I want to point that out. I just thought about it. Been on the road for 5 straight weeks. 5 straight weeks, battling each of those weeks. There was no week off because we were not guaranteed a playoff spot. We had to dominate Pittsburgh, dominate Virginia Tech, and all that. We have been playing our ass off for 5 straight weeks of football we've been scheduled for on the road. And coming into the season, when we started losing, we lost the game to Louisville, then we lost the game to SMU, finally our first road game outside of Florida. That was what they were talking about. That's what they were talking about, their SMU game. First road game, and they don't even leave, they haven't even left the state of Florida. And the one time they do, they get their second loss already. This Canes team's not for real. They haven't really traveled yet. They haven't went through the rigor of the schedule yet. Well, guess what? We just went on the road and faced Texas A&M for sure on the road. I don't want to hear no excuse. That was a total road game. Went to Dallas against Ohio State, traveled there, and now we went all the way to the West Coast fully to face Ole Miss and beat them. We are taken away. We are killing every single one of the national media's narratives that have been against the Miami Hurricanes this season. And I love it. I love it. You're beating the narrative of the ACC ain't shit. Well, guess what? We didn't even win the ACC championship, and we're beating the SEC teams. We're dominating these teams, and we beat Ohio State. Come on now. There is no way that this SEC bias should continue after Miami's playoff run. I feel like Miami's the one team that right now is killing the SEC bias. So with the NIL and all that, all these conferences are more even than they think, than the idiots think, because I know they're more even than I think. I watch ACC football. I watch Big Ten football. SEC is really good. They might still be the best conference, but the gap between the SEC, the Big Ten, and the ACC, and the Big Ten between the ACC and the Big 12 is really not as big as they make it seem. And Miami is looking like the one that's going to kill that narrative into next season. And I love it. I love it. We're killing the narrative that Mario can't win the big one. Oh, he can win the big one. We're killing the narrative that, we can't really game manage our way to a victory. Carson Beck's killing the narrative that he is just a game manager and can't make all elite plays and can't make the plays and make the throws when the game's on the line. Well, guess who won us this game? Big Carson Beck, baby. Big Carson Beck. And of course, the run game was incredible. Mark Fletcher, 22 carries, 133 yards. Like, that's incredible. But from Marty Brown, 14 carries for 54 yards, and he had a touchdown. But Carson Beck, really, with that game, wouldn't try to put it to play, making big plays when he really, really had to. 268 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had that dumbass pick where the Ole Miss D-line picked. And credit to Ole Miss, man. You knew coming into this game, Trinidad Chambliss was one of them ones. You know, he was good. He's elite. Extends the play. Good quarterback. Kewan Lacey's one of them ones. Their offense is really good. But the questions, I didn't really know too much about. And the question they had was, Miami should really dominate both sides of the trenches. And to be honest, Ruben Bain, Mesidor, you can't even tell they were playing last night. You couldn't even tell they were playing in this game. They did such a good job, that left tackle and the right tackle, and just the whole line in general of limiting, after that first quarter, the pressure of Miami. It was pretty incredible. It was pretty amazing and pretty surprising. And then, of course, the D-line was able to generate some pressure and get Carson Beck down a couple times on our elite O-line. So I feel like Ole Miss really surprised me with the trenches. They didn't surprise me with their offense, of course, and scoring, because we knew that was the one thing that they did have. The defense was all right. We hung 31 on them, though. We're supposed to be the team with not that great of an offense and the team with win games through our defense. So can't really say anything. Pete Golding, defensive coach. I need to relook at some game plan. I need to rethink Pete Golding. I'm just playing. But yeah, that's all I got for the immediate reaction. We'll have another video out tomorrow, of course. We got to milk this out for another 10 days. Let's go. The Miami Hurricanes have won the Fiesta Bowl and are one win away from calling ourselves the 2025-26 national champions. We'll see who we face tomorrow or today, whenever you're watching this. Indiana versus Oregon. That's our opponent, hopefully. You know what? I don't even give a fuck who we play. We're going to beat the shit out of them. Go motherfucking Canes.